How many jobs did the two of you have before starting LTT? Do you have any advice before breaking into the job market?
I had a ton. I had a lot. I started working really early. Um, my parents are freaking awesome, but we weren't like wealthy growing up. So, um, having a job was like a good idea. I don't know. I also didn't mind working. So yeah, I had a ton of jobs. Breaking into the job market depends on your age and it depends on your experience entirely. For me, when I first broke into the job market, it didn't matter. Walk to whatever store or walk to whoever person's house. Like some of
Oh
the
yeah,
things I did.
everyone was hiring at that point. I remember like noticing the quality of like Subway sandwiches going down dramatically in that like several year period because it was like they would hire literally anyone off the street. There was nobody stayed at a job for very long. Like once they were trained, they're just like out of there. Like nobody was trained.
I'm talking potentially like before that. Like I started working before I could legally have a job.
I'm talking about like 2000, like man, when was it? It was when I was getting my scuba certification, so it would have been around 2010.
I'm talking like 2001.
Oh, okay. Well, carry on.
Yeah. So how I first started doing things is like I would walk around my neighborhood and see like, oh, someone's doing a landscaping project. Can I offer to help for relatively like not okay amounts of money? Because they'll probably say yes, but I could get some work. I could get some money, and I didn't really mind it. I'm like shoveling whatever. It's a type of physical activity. I didn't really care. Or I'd mow lawns, or one of the like main first things that I got was just delivering newspapers, which sucks. It's a terrible job.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, a bunch of other stuff. So it really depends on like when you're hitting into the market. It's something that I always say for developers is try to build a portfolio, build something, do something, make it kind of cool, and that'll get a lot of traction for you, like genuinely. Do stuff on GitHub, make it so your code can be seen. One of the most frustrating but understandable things is when someone applies and they have nothing to show at all because they're like, oh, I've been working
Yeah.
professionally in the industry for
Everything's NDA'd.
10, 15 years. And just like your developers, a lot of my stuff, not maybe all of it, but the stuff that is there is open source contribution, and I don't want to share that account or whatever. Like there's nothing for me to see. So it's like, okay, well now I'm going to have to get you to do some stuff. So if you don't have experience to throw at people, you have your three things, right? You can throw portfolio, as in like things you've made, some examples of your work. You can throw experience. You can throw education. Each one of those are entirely viable. And I know myself definitely, but a lot of other recruiters these days are looking quite heavily into experience and portfolio and less into education. Education's really expensive. Not everyone can afford it, but some of those people that can't afford it might be really, really good, and it's worth looking into them.
My entire employment history can be found on LinkedIn. My first job was as a day camp counselor during my exchange to Quebec at Parc Terrain de Jeu. I was like an assistant camp counselor. I didn't speak French very well, but boy, did I ever try hard. Learned some of the songs and everything.
Wow.
Je tape les mains, tac-a-lac, tac-a-lac, je tape les mains, tac-a-lac.
AJ,
Anyway.
rip them apart.
Yeah.
Go, AJ, go.
Whatever. Then I was a lifeguard and swimming lessons instructor from 2004 to 2005 at the Maple Ridge Parks and Leisure Center. That sort of faded away because I went to school in 2005, and it was not realistic to be working while also attending UBC full-time and commuting a total of about 3.5 hours a day from Eastern Maple Ridge to UBC at the like west end of Vancouver. Then I was recruited during my first year of school as a Student Works painting franchisee. So technically I was self-employed during this period, even though I didn't fully understand that at the time. I thought that I kind of had the backing of a larger organization behind me. In practice, though, if someone doesn't pay you, they do absolutely nothing to sort it out. You're essentially an independent owner-operator. So thanks for that, Student Works. Then I quit Student Works. Definitely abandoned my contractual obligation out of both well, this was a period of, I guess it's probably fair to call it depression, even if it wasn't diagnosed. It's pretty much textbook case. This was not working for me. So between how I was feeling already about the job and the feeling of abandonment when we had that payment issue and them just kind of being like, see you later, I walked away and I went to work at NCIX because I loved just like talking about computers and helping people configure computers. And I only lasted 6 months because I went back to StudentWorks. See how these overlap a little bit? So I started at NCIX. Then I knew I had to go back to StudentWorks in the summer. So I was only there till May. And then when I came back, they actually didn't send me back to the store. So you can see here, here's how it went. December to May, I worked at NCIX part-time. Then from May to June, I was at StudentWorks. Then I walked away. And in July, I was back at NCIX. So I was the PC Systems Business Unit Manager. I configured the PCs. I ended up actually building a lot of the PCs, including a junior employee. This is Ivan. Man, what else? I filled this out like really well because I was updating this at a time when it wasn't certain that this whole Linus Media Group thing was going to work out, and I was trying to get a job. There's an LMG clip of the time that I tried to apply for Amazon. That took place during this time. Man, can you imagine what a different life I'd have if they had hired me as their it was like social media video coordinator or something like that. Like I was an absolute dream fit for the job, and I never even got contacted back. I was like, yeah, there's these channels with like over 1 million I think I already had a gold play button at NCIX for NCIX Tech Tips. And can you imagine not hiring that person for your social video role? And I think it was because the job requirements were that you had to have a bachelor's degree, and I didn't.
Yeah, see, that's
so
stupid.
I probably never even made it to a real human being.
Yeah,
I think I would have been a catch. I think y'all missed out. So anyway, I think I probably could have done some social media video stuff for you.
That's a Luke Tech Tips dark timeline.
Yeah, for sure. So then I was promoted to product manager, lasted in that role for 6 years. I was also a category manager as part of this. Man, I was actually pretty good at this. Hold on, sorry about that. Cut daily POs, managed a personal product portfolio from $0 to $2 million of monthly revenue. I rejuvenated a lot of troubled lines. NCIX was selling, I kid you not, 20 MSI motherboards a month when I took over that line. And we were over hundreds a week by the time I was done with it. OCZ was selling basically nothing when I took over that line. And they were our biggest SSD and DRAM vendor by the time I was done with it. They didn't go under until I was out. So that wasn't my problem, thankfully.
Maybe that's why.
But no, I had nothing to do with that.
Maybe it's your fault.
No. Then I have some other roles. I had multiple jobs at NCIX. I was YouTube video social media project coordinator. See, I did some stuff. Total of 85 million video views and 325,000 subscribers. Okay, apparently I did not have 1 million subscribers at that point. Oh no, that's right. That happened way later. We were at the Langley House. Never mind. With less than $10,000 invested, let me tell you, I buffered the crap out of that. There was far less than $10,000 invested. I was trying to account for every possible equipment expenditure that we could have had. We spent nothing on NCIX Tech Tips. And then category manager for a couple of years. So that's basically overseeing product managers. So yeah, I worked with OCZ, Intel, NVIDIA, AMD, Antec, Corsair, ASUS, MSI, EVGA, and many, many more. That was pretty cool. I was by the time I left, I was one of the most senior people in the company, even though I was only, what does this work out to? 26 years old.
Dig at him more? Why?
Dig at me?
Yeah, so someone's telling me to dig at you. So one piece of feedback that chat gave you is that you're not supposed to have stuff that far back on your LinkedIn. But he's also not actively looking for a job.
Yeah, and
so who cares?
And honestly, what am I supposed to just have this job?
At this
I've been
point-
here for almost 10 years.
Yeah, so at this point, I think basically, yeah,
What do you mean you're not supposed to?
like you shouldn't have your like painter stuff on there.
Oh, yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah,
I was memeing.
yeah,
I was just like, you know what? Okay, so part of it was that I was wanting to get a job. The other part of it was that I used to keep a diary when I was in high school. And it's pretty cool to go back and look at that stuff. So my concept here when I was creating this was that it would be as complete as possible, as much for my own entertainment as anything else. So I put as much information into like the NCIX stuff, which I obviously remembered a lot better because it was current. I put as much information as I thought I could put in there without disclosing, without breaking my NDA with NCIX, like disclosing business secrets. So I have sales growth in units while remaining excellent customer satisfaction and achieving GP margin targets from 2006 to 2012, 440%. That's the sales growth of my lines. And I'm not going to lie, I spent actual work time digging into our reports in our internal system to compile this for my LinkedIn
wow,
while I was seeking
Wow.
employment elsewhere.
fired. Bad,
Well,
bad, Linus.
Well, they didn't fire me. They asked me for 6 months notice, actually, is what they actually did when I tried to quit. Something like that.
That's a lot. That's a lot of notice.
Yeah, well, I was trying to negotiate for buying this channel that you're watching this video on for
Yeah.
$1, right? So
Yeah.
that was a whole thing.
Yeah.